Welcome everyone to Doga Yoga. My name is Melody. This is Danny, the foster dog, and today we are doing a beautiful class called Yoga for Self-Discovery. Now, yoga is traditionally a form of moving meditation, and what that means is really connecting with our thoughts and our feelings in the here and now. Don't worry, meditation doesn't mean that you have to be thoughtless or have no thoughts going on in your head. But what we actually want to do is take time to stop and listen. Listen to our body, listen to our breath, listen to our thoughts, and listen to our feelings. So what we're doing is creating that space, creating this time for you to stop and listen to what is going on inside. So we'll come on down to seated, grounding the tailbone down. You might be sitting on a block. Place one hand on one knee, one hand on the other. Turn one palm up and then the other. You might take a mudra. And close down the eyes, starting to connect with the rise and fall of your breath. Inhale, feel the belly, the ribs, the collarbones. And exhale, soften and release. Inhale. And exhale. Start to bring your awareness out of the future, out of the past, out of the to-do lists and worries, and into the body, and into the rise and fall of your breath. Start to relax the shoulders, down the back. And just notice how you're feeling physically today. Are you stiff and sore, energetic, tired, fatigued? Just observe while continuing to bring in beautiful, full cycles of breath. Inhale, feel the belly, the ribs, the collarbones, and exhale, release. Inhale, and exhale, inhale, and exhale. Now that we've sought how we're feeling in the body, notice the differences side to side. Bring your awareness more firmly onto your breath. Notice how it's showing up for you today. It might be deep and full and soft, or it might be fast and shallow. Whatever your breath is doing, however your body feels is perfect. But what we're doing is starting to just take a step back, to stop, to listen and observe. Invite you to slow your breath down, filling up all three chambers. And exhale, softening and releasing. Starting to create an even breath. So when you're inhaling next, see if you can count how long you inhale for. It can be 5 counts, 7 counts, 10 counts, doesn't matter. And exhale. See if you can make it just as long. So what we're doing here is creating a Raja Pranayama, royal yogic breath, so beautiful, even breath. Filling up all three chambers, bringing beautiful new oxygen into the body. And exhale, letting all the old air go, letting go of anything that doesn't serve us, any staleness in the body. Release. Inhale. And exhale. Observe the sensations of the belly, the ribs, the collarbones rising. And exhale, the sensations of softening and release. Notice the sensation of the air in your nostrils as you inhale. And exhale, breathe out. Connect with your body and your breath, and just notice now how you're starting to feel in the mind. You might be rushed and very jumbled, or you might be clear and still. You might be turbulent or soft. There is no right or wrong here. We're in a place of no judgment. Just start to check in, stop and listen to yourself. When we're ready, we'll turn both palms over, place them on our knees, find a length in the spine, taking a seated cat-cow to open up the chest, arch the back, send our gaze skyward. And exhale, bring our chin towards our chest, round out the spine, draw our navel towards our spine, cat. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Move here with the flow of your breath. Your moving meditation. Take your time and really find that synchronization between your body and your breath. Take time to observe the sensations in each movement. Feeling the body open on your inhale, the chest open. Gaze goes up, feel the openness in the heart. And exhale, ground, really feel the gaze going towards the earth, the chin to chest, pushing, squeezing out all the old energy. Inhale. And exhale. When we're ready, we'll come up into seated. Find that beautiful straight spine. Now we might have a block under our tailbone. We might have one leg straight. Do whatever feels good for your body. Lengthen here. We're going to place our right hand on our left knee, our left hand behind us. Length and twist. So take that time, find that length, and exhale. Flowing with your breath. And just observing how we're feeling physically, emotionally in the moment. When you're ready, come back to center. Place our left hand on our right knee, our right hand behind us. Find length and revolve. Finding that connection for body and breath, moving meditation. Find synchronization in your movements, growing tall on your inhale. And exhale, naturally feeling the body soften and release. When we're ready, we're going to come back to center. Find the length in the spine once more and just put our fingertips in front of us. We're going to walk on forward, just coming into a nice forward fold here. You might just have the fingertips resting here. You might be able to come onto the forearms. You might even rest the forehead all the way down. There is no right or wrong. Beautiful introspective pose here. Allowing us to look further inward. Connect again to your breath. Feel that expansion. And exhale, find that sensation of softness and release. Now, you might start to find some pause between your breaths. A moment of stillness, a moment of silence, a moment of ease between our eternal movement of breath. So inhale, feel the belly, the ribs, the collarbones. Pause. Find silence and stillness and a moment to really observe. And exhale, release and pause. Inhale, pause, find that stillness. And exhale, pause. Finding this little bit of stillness in the body allows us to find a little bit of stillness in the mind. And by that I mean we're not thoughtless, we're not thinking about anything. It means the pool of our mind becomes calm. It becomes a mirror. It allows us to better stop and see ourselves. It allows us to better observe the flow of our thoughts. Observe what we're thinking and what we're feeling, and just really allowing us to be with them. Take this time to look inward. Notice what your thoughts are thinking. Notice what you're feeling. And often we do this. We try and shy away. Our thoughts will hook us onto a specific story that we tell ourselves and take us off into the future or past or that specific track. Try and bring yourself out. Bring yourself back to be able to look at all of your thoughts, look at your feelings and observe. Separate yourself. But still be present. Be in the here and now. When you're ready, start to walk on up. Cross. Bring that front foot back, that back foot forwards. We're swapping our feet over, finding length. And folding forward once more. Beautiful, gentle release here. We might just be on the fingertips here. We might have our forehead all the way down. Just find what feels good for you. Relax the shoulders, relax the jaw, and just observe the sensations. You might just be focusing on the body. That rise and fall of your breath, creating that beautiful inhale and exhale. Noticing the physical sensations as you fill up. Feel that hip expand, the belly expand, the lower back expand and soften. You might be wanting to look at your thoughts more. Just notice what's coming into your head. Notice how you're feeling. And wherever you are is just perfect in the here and now. This is a time of self-discovery. So whatever we're exploring is perfect. It might be how our body is different side to side. How our breath is showing up for us today. How our thoughts come and go. Noticing the patterns, the stories we tell ourselves, and giving us the space, giving us the silence to observe them. See if they serve us. Just notice the patterns. We might be observing what we're feeling and acknowledging that. We might feel happy, grateful, sad, anxious, unsure, angry, frustrated, and anything in between. Just observe wherever we are. Observe that feeling. Acknowledge it. And keep on focusing on it. Not the story of how it came to be, or the justifications, but why we feel this way. Ask ourselves, why do I feel sad today? Why do I feel happy? Why do I feel anxious and unsure? And just discover what comes back. There's no right or wrong. This is a place of absolute no judgment. So just discover, breathe, and be. When you're ready, gently walk the hands up. Feel that beautiful release in the hip. Find that length in the spine. We're going to send our hands over. Gently come into our tabletop position. Take our cat-cow, so our shoulders and wrists are aligned, our knees and hips are aligned. Drop the belly, open up chest. So nice. And exhale, push away. Inhale. And exhale, find that synchronization between body and breath. Observe and discover what's going on. When we're ready, we'll come to neutral, tuck the toes under, push the hips up and away into our first downward facing dog. We're going to drop one heel and then the other. One and then the other. Finding that connection to body and breath. Still counting our inhales and exhales, creating our Raja Pranayama, our royal yogic breath. And if you really enjoyed finding that little bit of stillness, that little bit of pause between each breath, still find that in each movement as well. When we're ready, we're going to come to stillness. Have our knees bent generously if that feels good for you. Shoulder blades are down the back. Push higher. Observe the weight in all 5 fingers, all 5 toes. Bend the knees generously. Look towards the hands. And we're just going to step up gently into our forward fold. And we're all going to have really bent knees here. Push into all 4 corners of the feet. When our hands come towards our belly and just pull our hip creases back. Really rest the belly on the thighs, bend the knees generously and take the hands to wherever they are. Now they might not touch the ground, so that's completely fine. You might have them on a shin or a block. Grab the elbows, relax the shoulders, and just really release here. Feel the lower back open. Belly rests on the thighs. Relax the neck, the jaw, the shoulders. And breathe. Inhale, feel the belly, the ribs, the collarbones. And exhale, soften and release. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And release. I'm going to super slowly roll on up vertebra by vertebra. Big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch. And back to heart center. Place our thumb on our sternums and our shoulders down the back. And find your connection to body and breath. Find your connection to self. And when we're ready, all together, one big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch. And exhale, fold forward, bent knees, super gentle and slow. Crown of the head towards the earth, hands come to the shins. Inhale, come up, halfway lift, push away. And exhale, fold forward, crown of the head towards the earth, shoulder blades down the back. Just to release here. You might wrap the arms around the elbows, you might grab the shins, you might even grab the big toes. You might start to straighten your legs a little bit more if that feels good for your body. Still keeping the spine long, so we're not rounding the spine here to try and get straight legs. Breathing. And just see if we can fold a little bit deeper. You might have your hands on your shins or your big toes. Pull yourself towards the ground, opening up the chest still. And finding that beautiful stretch in the hamstrings and calves. When ready, release our shins, release our toes, release whatever we're holding on to. Inhale, rise on up once more. And exhale, fold. Bend the knees generously, roll on up. Vertebra by vertebra, big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch. And back to heart center. We're going to place weight into our left foot, lift our right knee up, balance here. We might kick that foot all the way forward. We might just have this toe off the ground a millimeter, be where feels good. We're going to kick this right foot back and come into our warrior two. So sink our feet down, heel to arch alignment, back foot squares off to the back of the mat. Knee to ankle alignment. Just tuck your tailbone under so we're not sending the butt towards the back of the room and chest towards the front. We're straightening up here. Beautiful straight spine, sinking down. Opening up the hands here, shoulder blades down the back. Flip that front palm and just breathe, focusing on the front fingertips. Notice the sensations here. Notice the connection to earth. Notice your breath. Notice how you feel in the here and now. Just observe any thoughts, any stories we tell ourselves without judgment. Observe them. Get curious. Why are we thinking that? Why are we telling ourselves that? Question and be. When we're ready, we'll come into our reverse warrior. This palm comes up to the sky. We can send this back hand down this back thigh. We can wrap it around, coming into a slight bind, grabbing that front thigh. Gaze towards the top fingertips. Back leg is still active. Breathing and being. When you're ready, come back to your warrior two. Sink a little bit deeper. We'll turn that front palm down, gaze towards the fingertips. Roll the shoulder blades down the back, activate the legs and sink the hips a little bit lower if you can. Breathe. Find your beautiful Raja Pranayama, your royal yogic breath. Find that pause. Find that bit of stillness in between the constant movement of life. And when we're ready, we're going to come into our side angle pose. So this front arm comes onto our knee, or we can send it down towards beside our front foot. We send this back hand to either reach to the sky or send it over to reach the room in front of us. So instead of sending our gaze down, we're revolving, opening up the chest, revolving from the navel center. Gaze goes towards our armpit and towards the roof. And we send our shoulder blades down the back. We're not hunching our shoulders towards our ears. Down the back, hips are low, glute is on, breathe. So beautiful. And we're going to sweep this top hand towards the back and then bring it down next to our front hand. Now just you might wriggle this front foot over, come onto those back toes and sink this back knee down. Beautiful. Now come onto our fingertips here. Now you might want to take some time to pad this back knee with a blanket or the mat or a cushion. Take your time. And we're going to pick up this back knee and just wriggle it back a little bit more so we're really sinking into the hips here. Now I'm on my fingertips, or I can come onto my palms, but this might be quite challenging for you. Grab a block, grab some books, Do whatever you need. You might be up quite high here to find that comfort zone. Do what feels good for your body. Now we're going to really melt the hips down here. You'll really feel this in our hip flexor, in our quadricep. Just relax where we can and breathe. Notice any clenching, any holding on, any tightness. And just focus on that rise and fall of your breath. You might start to check back in with the thoughts, see if we got taken off by a single thought, going on to a specific scenario. And just bring ourselves back out if we have. It's okay, it happens to me all the time. And just focus back on that rise and fall of your breath. Allowing yourself to get back into that observing state. Our thoughts are kind of like a river. They come and they go. So allow your thoughts to flow. Allow yourself to sit on top of a beautiful hill above that river. Observe as they come into your mind and observe as they go without being hooked or hooking a particular thought. Knowing, more importantly, that you are not your thoughts. We may think that, oh, we're so stupid, or oh, I could never do that, or stupid Melody. You know how we say those things to ourselves. But they're not true. We are more strong and powerful than we ever know. And we have the power to observe our thoughts, observe their patterns and behaviors. And if we want to make a change. So just discover your pattern today. Start to observe your river. And it might be super turbulent. It might be soft. Whatever it is perfect. The act of observing alone is so powerful. When we're ready, we're gently going to walk our left foot in between our hands. So wriggle our left foot over our leg, and we're going to come into our pigeon pose. So wriggle this foot over behind our right wrist, and then we're going to bring this knee to the ground. Then you might have to wriggle this back leg around, you might take it back a bit more, you might bring it forward. Now you can have this heel quite close to your groin, or you can have it more square to the front edge of your mat. You might even have a pillow or cushion or block underneath your left glute. Find what feels good. Come up onto your fingertips here, really feeling this beautiful opening in the hips. You might stay here. This might be your perfect place to find that calm, that peace. Or if you'd like to, you have the option, completely optional, everything is optional. Walk the hands forward. You might be on the forearms, or you might be able to rest the forehead on the ground. Do whatever feels most natural and nourishing to your body. Connecting with the sensations, with the rise and fall of your breath. Finding that beautiful Raja Pranayama. Counting our inhales and exhales. And seeing if we can still find that little bit of stillness. That little bit of peace. And when we're ready, we're going to lift our forehead, walk our hands back super gently, opening up the chest. And we're going to get this back foot, sorry. We're going to get it around in front of us. So you're like, how is that going to happen? So just lean towards the side, lean onto your left glute, and sweep this foot around. Or come into seated, however feels good for you. We're going to lengthen this right leg, bring this left foot to touch our right thigh. find length wherever we are and walk our hands forward, coming in to a beautiful forward fold. Keep these toes flexed, push this knee down, still find a length in the spine, and then soften and release, my friends. Do what feels good and natural to you. Ready, we're going to walk on up. So nice, so nice. We're going to bring that right foot in, cross our ankles. I'm going to grab the option to grab the big toes or the ankles. Do what feels good for you and just rock back and forward here. Really massaging out the spine. Feels so nice. You might be like, yeah, not feeling that. Just go to where it feels good. You might just sit cross-legged for a moment. And when we're ready, come up to seated, place our hands in front of us. We're going to step our way back into our downward facing dog. And you can stay here or you can come through a flow with me. So plank, chaturanga. Everyone come down to the ground, untuck the toes, come up into that cobra and lower. Make your way into your child's pose and make your way back into your downward facing dog. You might pedal the feet here. Notice the difference side to side. And when we're ready, you're all going to come to stillness. Find that length in the spine. Send the shoulder blades down the back. Lower the heels down. Squeeze the kneecaps. Tuck the tailbone slightly and hollow out the lower belly. So nice. When we're ready, bend the knees, look towards the hands, walk on up into our super nice forward fold. You might tuck those hip creases back again, really rest the belly on the thighs, let the head hang down, hands come to the shins, around our elbows, whatever feels good for you. You might straighten the legs a bit more if that feels available to you. Remember, we keep the spine straight. We do not compromise our straight spine for straight legs. You might straighten one leg and then the other. You might just be still here. So nice. When you're ready, come to stillness. Roll on up, vertebra by vertebra. Big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch. And back to heart center. Breathe and be here. Reconnect with the body, reconnect with your breath. When we're ready, we're going to lift that left knee up, balance, kick that foot out, and then step it back into our warrior two. Sink here, tailbone down, heel to arch alignment. Really push into the outside edge of this back foot. Make sure you can see your big toe. Open up the arms, shoulder blades down the back. We're really tucking our tailbone under, tucking our ribs in so our spine is nice and long. Flip that front palm and just notice the sensations here. Notice the underside of your arm, the tops or the bottoms of your fingers, the creases on your palm. Observe, breathe, and be. When you're ready, come into your reverse warrior. Now you might come into a bind, grabbing that front thigh, shoulder blades down the back. This backhand can just be down the back thigh. Legs are strong, gaze is soft, shoulder blades melt down the back. When you're ready, come back to your warrior two, sink a little deeper. Palm is facing down, shoulder blades are down the back. Breathe here. When you're ready, come into your side angle pose. So your arm can be on this knee, you can send it down, reach the fingertips high, or reach over to the sky, or the front of the room. Revolve from the navel center, gaze goes towards our armpit. Breathing here. Tuck the tailbone under, find that length from that outside edge of that back foot all the way to your fingertips. Feel really active throughout your whole side body. When you're ready, sweep this top hand to the back of the room and then down beside your foot. Come onto those back toes, lower that back knee down, wriggle our right foot out to the side and sink here. You might pick up this knee, wriggle it back a little bit to sink the hips down more deeply. You might be on a block, you might pad that knee, do what feels good. And just find that connection to body and breath. Notice what this position brings up for you today. Getting into our hips, getting into places of tension often brings up emotional responses. We hold tightness from stress, fear, uncertainty, frustration, and anything in between. So when we physically release that tension, when we allow the muscles to relax, often our body allows us to release the emotional tension that we've also been holding onto. So if something comes up for you today, perfect. Discover yourself. Discover this emotion. Don't try and push it down, bottle it up, push it into the dark room where we never pay attention to them. And you might be like, Melody, if I'm having negative thoughts, why on earth would I want to acknowledge them? Good question. All thoughts, or all feelings, I should say, are part of the human spectrum. We can't just be happy all the time. That is unreasonable. And when we push negative emotions, especially away, when we push fear, frustration, anger away, or we bottle it up, it often compounds it. We often store it in the body, store it in our heart. And if we allow ourselves to observe and acknowledge the feeling when we feel it, observe why we're feeling it, what has caused it, and just allow it to be in a constructive way. You might process anger through really active flows or energetic movement. Just let it out. It goes away. It dissipates a lot more, and we don't store that energy or that negative energy in the body. So that's why I ask you to observe. Just see, discover what we're feeling, what's going on today. When we're ready, we're going to come into our pigeons. We're going to walk our right hand to the outside of our right foot. We're going to wriggle our right foot all the way over to that behind that left wrist. Lower that knee down, and you might wriggle this back leg back a bit more. You might square off your front leg to the front of the room, in front of the mat, I should say. Find what feels natural for you. You might grab a block, put it under this hip. Come onto the fingertips, find length in the spine, and you might just stay here. This is actually a beautiful version for me today on this side, so I'm going to stay here because it feels really good. You might walk those fingertips forward, you might come onto the forearms or lower the forehead down all the way onto the mat. Find your edge, find your space of release. Breathing, and connecting and observing with that rise and fall of your breath. Just like we did before, check in. Have we wandered off into thoughts that are taking us into the future, the past? Are we planning our shopping list? I've done that many a times, trust me. You are not the only one. So just notice it and bring it back to the present. Use your breath as your cornerstone. First, observing your inhale and your exhale. Counting the breaths. Bringing your awareness to the body, noticing the sensations with the rise and fall of the breath, checking in physically. And then we might be able to check in emotionally once again. Notice what thoughts we're having. Notice what we're feeling. And when we're ready, if we're on our forearms or our forehead is down, come back onto our fingertips. Rise on up. Just take a moment here. Lean onto our right glute. We're going to get our left leg all the way around. Send it straight. Get our right foot. Match it up with our thigh. Find a length in the spine and fold forward here. Just gently releasing. So nice. And we might be only be able to lean forward a millimeter here. You might have this knee super bent. You might be like this. That's perfect, guys. Come to where feels good for you. This is a point of discovery of what we can do. A discovery, a time of self-discovery of what our body is capable of, the strength of our body, the strength of our mind. It is not a time to tell ourselves what we can't do. So discover what your body can do, discover your strength, and celebrate it. You're awesome. You're awesome for stepping on the mat today. Breathing and releasing and softening. And when we're ready, we're going to make our way up super slowly. We're going to send our right leg long. Tailbone connects to the earth. Find length in the spine. And we're going to place both hands behind us. Fingertips facing our hips. Opening up the chest here. Now walk our heels together. Squeeze our kneecaps. Squeeze our glutes and push the tops of our heels into the ground. Now we're coming into a reverse plank. So really activate the arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Squeeze the biceps together, put weight into all 5 fingertips and send the hips up and away. Opening up the chest here. Breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Find length. I'm going to come into a full forward, fold forward here. Now you might have the knees super bent. You might have the knees pressed down, the heels pressed down into the earth. Wherever we are, find length in the spine and then lean. Now we're finding length on our inhale and exhale, releasing. Inhale and exhale. Find your moving meditation, that beautiful flow of energy, of life force with the rise and fall of your breath. And wherever we are, just find a bit of stillness and release. Release the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the lower back, the tongue. Allow yourself to let go. When we're ready, we're going to roll on up, bring our legs in, cross them. Now we're going to grab either our big toes or our shins and rock back and forward again, massaging out the spine. Oh, it feels so nice. Come up into seated, feet down, hands come over, and make our way back into our downward facing dog. Hello, Baba. Now you might just stay here. You can go through a flow with me. So come into plank, chaturanga, into your cobra or upward facing dog. And we'll all meet in downward facing dog in our own time. So nice. And we're going to bend our legs, look towards our hands, really pull back. So lower belly is hollow, pull back the tailbone and take little steps in or one step in or jump into our forward fold. Inhale, come up into our halfway lift. Find length. You might be on the tops of the fingers here or the knees. Find what feels good. And then fold. Find that beautiful forward fold. Bend the knees generously. Roll on up vertebra by vertebra. Big arm circle up overhead here. Fingertips touch. Squeeze the glutes here. Find a little back bend if that feels good for you. Opening up the chest. Send the hands towards the back of the room. And then come back to center. Bring the hands down towards our sternum. Thumb on our sternum and find that connection to the rise and fall full of your breath. Beautiful, guys. Press into our right foot, lift our left toes, and our hands come towards our hips. Now we can just stay here. We can lift this knee up, balancing. We might wrap our hands around this knee. These are all options, so you don't have to keep on going, just fine. Stop at which one feels good for you. So you might just stay here. If you're falling out, just come back to it. It's a practice for a reason. We don't do things or get things perfect first time. That's not how humans work. We practice and we get better incrementally, step by step, day by day. So you can just stay here. Or if you're feeling strong here, you might be able to grab your big toe with your fingers. Place that right hand on your right hip. Find that stability and strength. You might stay here. You're like, what's going on here? You might kick. We're starting to straighten this left leg. Finding that same length in the spine, sending the shoulder blades down the back. Breathing. And you might open yourself up to the side of the room, sending that right hand to the right, left foot to the left. Ooh, I'm going to fall out, talking too much. Saved it, maybe. Breathing. And when we're ready, bring that foot back in. Bring that hand back onto your hip. Release our foot and lower that leg down with control. Give ourselves a wriggle. Let the arms just hit the body side by side. And when we're ready, come back to stillness. Place weight into our left foot. Lift our toes up. We might just be here. This is option number one. There are heaps and heaps of options. Go to where feels good. So you might be here. We might lift that knee up. We might be here. We might grab both arms or both hands around that knee. You might be here. We might grab that big toe with our two fingers and place our hand on our hip, finding a length in the spine, activate this glute. Very important. Push down through all four corners of the feet. And then you might start to play and straighten that leg. You might open it out to the side, sending the other hand out for balance. When we're ready, we'll come back down, release that leg, come back to center, give ourselves a shake. Give ourselves one big arm circle up overhead, fingertips touch. And fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And fold. Bend our knees super generously. Plant our hands down. Come on back into our tabletop position. So step one foot back and then the other. Then we're going to cross our ankles and simply roll on back onto our buttocks. And then come back onto our backs. So nice. Just relax and release here. Hello, my sleeping beauty. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. The knees flop out to the side. Palms facing up. Or connect with your body and breath, placing one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. Find that connection wherever you are. And find that rise and fall of your breath. Inhale, feel the belly, the ribs, the collarbones. And exhale, soften and release. Inhale. And exhale. Start to find that pause, that stillness, a little bit of silence between each breath. Allow yourself to look a little deeper. What have you discovered today? What have you learned about yourself? Just get curious. There is no judgment here. we're gently going to bring those knees back together. Feet hip distance apart. If our hands are on our belly and chest, we're just going to send our fingertips towards our heels. Walk our shoulder blades down the back. Just tuck our tailbone under. Feel that length from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. Breathing here. Push into our big toes. Send our hips up and away for a nice, beautiful, nourishing bridge pose. So we're squeezing the knees in towards one another. We're activating the glutes